Hello and welcome to the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy, brought to you this weekend from here at Donnington Park. After Martin Donnelly's excuse of a lack of fuel in race one, we're soon to find out whether or not people's predictions for today's race winner will come true. Who do you reckon's going to win today?
Oh, I don't know. I probably Martin Donnelly, but I think Steve Williams is really going to give him a good run for his money. And then Marcus Jewell, he's very quick, but just a little bit behind Steve Williams. But yeah, it should be good. And
then you're going to pull it out there for the girls?
God, yeah, would I love to.
You know, what's your prediction for who's going to win today?
Well, it's got to be Martin, hasn't it? Without a shadow of a doubt. Short of mechanical problems, he's going to win. You know, he was 1.2 seconds a lap quicker than me in qualifying, and it's I'm not going to find that time.
Have you got any prediction as to who's going to win the race?
I suspect it'll be Donnelly.
Yeah?
Yeah, unless Steve Williams can give him enough hassle.
I think Martin will win unless he has a mechanical problem, but if he does, then I'll win.
And your prediction as to who's going to win the race?
I'll tell you after the race. It's always the best way, isn't it? Because you never know what can happen out there.
Well, best of luck. Enjoy your race.
Very much. Enjoy it.
The cars are heading out now for race 2, and Stephen Doherty takes his very first pole ever. It's a top 10 reverse grid, and here's David Addison to talk you through that.
So Stephen Doherty on pole for the first time. He's got Stuart Kirkbride lining up alongside him. Row 2 of the grid, John Lemaster and Martin Roberts. But look further back on the grid, on the 4th row, Ken Savage, who led the bulk of race 1, and Rob Anderson, who by default was the race 1 winner. Martin Donnelly starts on row 5, this time without the extra 60 kilos of weight he carried in race 1, given that his grid position this time around is a fair bit lower than pole position for the first of the 2 races. So Donnelly, a man to watch. And starting further back on the grid, number 33 is Mick Edwards, who's been a winner this year, and 18 as well, Steve Williams, who lines up 30th, and he could well be a man in a hurry. He's promoted to 3rd place by the exclusion from race 1 of the on-the-road winner, Michael Edwards, and Steve Williams, again, is going to be a real force to be reckoned with. Lights go out, very bad start by Stephen Doherty, who goes nowhere. Everybody else blasts around him on the way down towards Redgate Corner for the first time, but a woeful start by Doherty then. The first time he's been on pole position, and it did not turn out to be a happy experience as Stuart Kirkbride leads Martin Roberts as they all plunge into Redgate Corner for the first time. Rob Anderson, in only his 3rd ever car race, having won his 2nd race earlier on in the day, makes his way now down through the Crater curves in the red car that's been driven earlier on in the year to a win at Brands Hatch by Jamie Stanley. The other winner at Brands Hatch, though, was Steve Williams, and he's a man in a real hurry now, working his way up from the rear of the field as they pour their way for the first time down through the old hairpin. Making their way now up to the left-hander at Schwantz Curve. So the race leader, Stuart Kirkbride, trying to get away from the rest of them, but he's being chased by Martin Roberts in 2nd as they head now up towards McLean's for the first time. Steve Williams, the other driver, trying to gain ground there, having a look on the inside as they turn into the corner. Nigel Ayres ahead of him in number 4, who runs a bit wide, hooks the wheel onto the curb, gets all crossed up there. Does he hang on to it? Just about. Flicks left and right, but eventually Nigel Ayres does hang on to the car. Steve Williams, though, goes round the outside of him, turning through Coppice, gets forced wide onto the curb. Does he gain a place? No, not yet, as the leaders turn their way down through Fogarty's, through the S's, and then onto the Grand Prix loop for the first time. 3 into 1, just about fits. Andrew Kell there, almost making contact with Matt Bartlett. Kell stays ahead of him, and Bartlett losing another place on the run down to the Melbourne hairpin. The recovering Stephen Doherty in number 21, who was on pole position, remember, goes back ahead. Number 70 there, Marcus Jewell goes through the Melbourne hairpin. Marcus Jewell, another quick driver, although his results this year don't totally reflect that pace. Going now towards the left-hander at Goddard's, out of which Stuart Kirkbride leads the way at the end of lap 1, being chased by Martin Roberts. In 3rd place now, number 14 is Hans Baumhart, and right on his tail is Martin Donnelly. Donnelly, remember, up from 10th on the grid, a good first lap, but he's about to go 3rd, I think, on the way down towards Redgate. On the inside line, the black car and Martin Donnelly. Is this going to give him 3rd alongside Hans Baumhart? Yes, it does. Donnelly goes through them, and Hans Baumhart loses a place as they're turning through number 20, David Alexander. The cars sprinting their way onto the top of the Crater curves. Downhill they go now for the 2nd time. It's a 20-minute race, and for the moment Stuart Kirkbride looking pretty strong up front. Martin Donnelly, though, now 3rd also, is becoming far more of a threat. And number 5 there, Ken Savage in the yellow car that led the bulk of the first race, has also just gained 1 place heading down towards the old hairpin. Now the pace that Ken Savage has displayed so far this weekend is pretty impressive, so he could be a man yet to gain further ground before the end of the race. He's got himself up ahead of David Alexander, and straight away now Ken Savage, the man who comes from Pottersbury near Silverstone, is inching up onto the back of that gaggle of cars ahead of him. Martin Donnelly now is getting closer to Martin Roberts. The two of them there look nose to tail coming out of Coppice. All of this for the moment is enabling Stuart Kirkbride to pull away, but as they head down now towards the Fogarty's S's, the battle is well and truly joined for second place. The two of them nose to tail. Lower down the order there, 23, Gary Broad trying to defend as Donnelly now makes a move on the inside for second place, and Marcus Jewell makes a move for fourth as well, coming into Fogarty's. Donnelly goes through, that gives him second, and Marcus Jewell also now up into fourth position. Two of the quick drivers then working their way through. They both started on the 5th row. Donnelly making better progress, so he's second, and straight away, look, he's closing on Stuart Kirkbride. Ken Savage now makes a very bold effort on the inside of Hans Baumhart, just about avoiding contact there, coming down to the Melbourne hairpin. Runs wide as well, coming out of the corner. The leaders are at Goddard's, and it is still just Stuart Kirkbride who leads Martin Donnelly. On board now with Donnelly. The former Lotus Grand Prix racer is on the tail of Stuart Kirkbride as they blast past the pits. I think Martin tried to encourage Stuart Kirkbride either to get a bit quicker or get out of his way. But as they come down towards Redgate now, Donnelly goes to the outside line there. It's going to be a brave effort to drive all the way around the outside. I doubt he's going to try that. He'll probably try a tighter line coming out of the corner, but Kirkbride gets sideways. Donnelly right alongside him now as they come to the top of the Craner curves. But despite the slide, Stuart Kirkbride has managed to hang on to the lead. Great recovery. A third place looking as though it might change as well. Marcus Jewell tried to level with Martin Roberts, but Donnelly down at the old hairpin goes for the lead, and he gets the lead on the inside there. Donnelly goes through, bounces over the curve, hangs onto the car. Stuart Kirkbride stays with him now as they head towards Schwantz Curve in third place still. There you can see the all-blue car of Martin Roberts, but Marcus Jewell about to make a run up the inside, heading through Schwantz Curve. That doesn't quite pay off for him. The door is closed by Martin Roberts. All of these cars, of course, within the production class. The Lotus On Track Elise Trophy, hugely popular. We've had that change for third. Jewell's gone ahead on the inside at McLean's, down to fourth now. Martin Roberts, fifth is Hans Baumhart in sixth place there. The yellow car in the hands of Ken Savage. You're back on board with Steve Williams as he climbs up towards Coppice now. Chris Pearson to the right, just ahead of him. Steve Williams ought to be able to zap round the outside and gain 1 place, assuming he's got the room, because now he's being boxed in the traffic. Look, there are 2 more cars overlapping, having their own private duel here on the run down towards the left and right of Fogarty's. One of them is Stephen Doherty there. Well, Doherty goes backwards. Williams up the inside, gains another place. Turns his way now through Fogarty's onto the Grand Prix loop. Well, Steve Williams may not be able to salvage a race win out of this, but the way that he's going suggests that the podium is a real possibility. Marcus Jewell now lunges up on the inside of Stuart Kirkbride. That's for second place. Is it going to pay off for him as they come out of the corner? Yes, it does. So Donnelly now leads. In second place is Marcus Jewell as they come across the line. The 2 teammates head down towards the right-hander at Redgate. Third is Kirkbride. Fourth is Martin Roberts with that familiar open-face helmet of his. In fifth place now, Ken Savage, and in sixth, number 20, turning his way onto the top of the Craner curves is David Alexander. Now, having hit the front, is Martin Donnelly going to be able to build this advantage, or can Marcus Jewell come back at him? The 2 fifth row of the grid starters now running first and second. Ken Savage, in the meantime, has got Alexander right up behind him. Savage has taken that place away from him once, but David Alexander now, who's gone really well this weekend around the 2.5-mile Grand Prix circuit here, wants the place back. Kirkbride running a bit wide there, coming out of the old hairpin. That has now, in turn, put Martin Roberts right onto his tail as the cars thread their way up towards the right-handed out McLean's. And life becomes a whole lot more complicated now for Martin Roberts. He wants to attack. He's also got to defend at the same time from Ken Savage, but Savage now under real pressure because Alexander lunges up the inside and goes through. David Alexander takes over the place. They turn now from Coppice onto the run down towards Fogarty's. Now this is Rob Anderson, the man that was promoted to the winner of race 1. This only his third ever car race, and he goes through, gains a place then from Ken Savage on the run down now into Fogarty's. Savage looking as though he's wilting a little bit, and as in race 1, Rob Anderson getting stronger and stronger as the race unfolds. He makes the run now down to the Melbourne hairpin, raising money for the Little Havens Children's Hospice by buying this race seat. And as he comes into the braking area now for the Melbourne hairpin, he's going to go through, I think, yes, Rob Anderson on the inside. He said at the end of race 1 that he wasn't really sure whether there was a career for him because his other half may have other ideas about where he's spending the money, but having now been a race winner, surely he can't turn his back on a burgeoning racing career. He's gained a place. Look, he's got himself up ahead of Martin Roberts. So as he comes across the line, the next target for number 60, Rob Anderson in the red car there is Stuart Kirkbride. Down they come in towards Redgate Corner this time around. Donnelly and Jewell up the road. David Alexander going strongly, and Ken Savage now makes his move through on the inside of Martin Roberts. Another place is ticked off then for Ken Savage as the leaders plunge downhill once again. Martin Donnelly leads the way. In the first race of the weekend, he finished 4th on that amended result because he had to carry not only 60 kilos of weight, but also he had a fuel surge problem, and that really is why Donnelly, who was good at the first part of the race, faded in the second half. Now he's got that fuel surge drama sorted out. He's also lost the 60 kilos of weight. He's going much more strongly, and now we've just seen Rob Anderson there going ahead of Stuart Kirkbride, who led on the first lap, but now Kirkbride is starting to drop away as the race unfolds. The man from Chelmsford then losing a place. He's about to lose another as well, because there Ken Savage, look in the yellow car, is right on his tail as they turn their way from Coppice down towards Fogarty's once again, with Hans Baumhart right on the tail of Martin Roberts. Ross Treasure in the background as well in the bright yellow car, also becoming a bit more of a threat now. So Savage goes ahead of Roberts as they turn their way through Fogarty's, and off the road there, look, it's Stuart Kirkbride. The man that led early on in the race is stationary by the side of the circuit. Marshall's run to his aid, but Kirkbride gets back into the race as Donnelly goes wide then. Over the line they come. We have a new leader. Marcus Jewell goes ahead. We head to a break.